Hello everyone and welcome. Today we'll be taking a look at a professional best-of-3 series of StarCraft 2. Joining me here, map number 1 shall be Whispers of Gold. Here in the upper left corner shall sit a blue Protoss with blue probes ready to go. It is NightMare. And their red Terran opponent here landing towards the bottom right corner, it is GuMiho. Alright, that out of the way, PvT, ladies and gents, with GuMiho, indeed. We can Gumi get right to it, I suppose. Probe already here in the main base, causing a bit of havoc. Bit of chaos, quite the nightmare for any Terran. Yes, perfect. Worker battle ensues. The SCV should win it unless NightMare, is on point with the micro here, making sure that shield actually regenerates a little bit. But with such a close distance here, I think the SCV is totally fine, I'll say. Should be okay. Not even interested in chasing it either. That SCV, that was just the defensive SCV, you see. Over on the other side, NightMare. I don't really know a whole lot. I don't have a whole lot of expectations going into this, kind of knowing what type of play they're really interested in. I've seen a few PvTs from GuMiho recently. I know that he's kind of got his style, like his thing that he's doing, which usually involves Widow Mines. I feel like I've been seeing a lot of Widow Mine openers from GuMiho, so I kind of expect to see that, maybe a little textbook. NightMare, likewise, I don't know a whole lot about what's going to be happening, so I'm kind of expecting it to be normal, a little textbook, Twilight, Blink, Robo follow-up openers, maybe some Stalker aggression. Currently, the Adept is just holding down the metaphorical fort here, the defense, the Reaper, just getting a bit of scouting, a little bit of vision here, seeing everything come up, of course. GuMiho did spot Twilight. It's going to be Blink, which actually makes me happy, I'll see, because it's just a normal game. Textbook opener. We get to see these two in a more, I'd say, kind of natural form. Nobody's done anything really chaotic or messed anything up, so knocking somebody off balance. We just kind of get to see what they both want to do. What is your goal? What is your plan? That's always a nice thing, I feel. Getting to see kind of what they both came into this map trying to do. We have a plan, and we're hoping that we get to do it long enough for some measure of success. The barracks placement all the way back here. This is a little strange, but GuMiho's just going for a 2-1-1, a very quick stim. So this isn't going to look like a Widow Mine play, I'll say. It's not entirely that Widow Mine opener. It is going to be a drop. We know that 2-1-1 is getting just a bunch of Marines together, a couple medevacs, stim will be researched, and we're going to go for it. It's a risky move. It's a little bit of a risky opener because you're kind of banking on getting a little bit of damage done. You're rushing out the stim at the expense of some of the other pieces. Versus a Terran, I would say, who's going for the triple threat. You see, stim, shields, and +1 all together. We're kind of delaying that a little bit. The Adept Shade completes and doesn't even get one SCV. NightMare, I'm not entirely sure that was a intentional move there. That may have been a little bit of a slip. The Marines are picked up. The double medevac is here and ready. Stim still a good maybe 20 to 30 seconds off, but there's flight time to be considered on the map. So GuMiho just wants to get into position, kind of line this up. Stim about 15 off now. Everything should be fine. Unloading this far out. Is GuMiho's whole goal here just to stop the third? It's going to be immediately canceled. I mean, the cancel with resounding success, I suppose, but that's probably not everything that GuMiho was, Gumi hoping for. But, well, the Stalkers now, they seem angry. They seem a bit upset, so they're going to go across the other side of the map while GuMiho gets to just kind of land in the main base here. I suppose there's a recall on the menu. Yep, recall will be initiated here. GuMiho, no, we're not picking up. Okay, we're committing. Stalkers take out the medevac. Stim on the Marines. They're focusing down some of the probes now. 7, 8... total, 8 probes it looks like. Stalkers, a little whittled as well. How many Stalkers were picked off? 6 Stalkers, plus the 8 probes. That's not terrible, I will say. Actually, not too shabby. Forcing the recall definitely helps, because at this point in the game, when the Protoss has blink, they want to be on the Terran side of the map. They want to be causing a bit of damage, a bit of havoc, making the Terran uncomfortable generally with the existence of Protoss, which is enough, I would say, to cripple many a Terran. We'll see how GuMiho really reacts. Now, normally, this is what NightMare would have been wanting to do. Using those Stalkers, blinking up into the main, but losing 6 Stalkers, no Prism reinforcement either. We don't even have a Prism. We went for an Observer, so there's not even any potential for reinforcing this group of Stalkers. I just don't see NightMare really getting a whole lot done here. GuMiho's going to throw another group of Marines at the main because it worked really well last time. Why not? Why fix what ain't broke, I suppose. Pylon picked off. Pylon focused down the gateways. Look how sad they are. They didn't even finish turning into warp gates. It's just the half warp gate. You pick. I guess it's a warp or a gate. Your choice. But it's definitely not a warp gate at this point. Storm is on the menu next. First of the splash damage options for the Protoss. NightMare having a bit of a tough time in map number 1 here, dealing with these drops. We'll see how things continue over the next minute. We've got a couple tech things that are coming online. Storm and Charge. Definitely potent options. Maybe a little difficult used together, because that's not entirely healthy for the Zealots, but if it kills the Marines, I suppose it's worthwhile. The Prism, just about to finish up as well. I think the choice is going to be the Templar. Okay, so we're going for keeping the Templar in the Prism. Yes. No. No. Why? But the Templar. Okay. Never mind. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore, apparently. Recall initiated, because there's another drop in the main base over here. Stalkers are brought back, but I think the Marines actually outnumber the Stalkers by a fair bit. Reinforcing warp, and 16 probes have been picked up. This is not looking great for this initial opener for the Protoss. What happened to the Prism? Took a little bit of damage, it looks like. It's just in the middle of the map, though. I'm guessing GuMiho kind of shut that down. Not really a whole lot of damage. Workers killed? Wow. Very one-sided. GuMiho looking to be in a pretty solid position here for the initial openers, it feels. Third base landed. Siege tank set up for the defense. Ghost Academy on the way. You gotta love the Terran's position right now. I think that any Terran would be feeling pretty good about this. Up on workers, up on army. A little bit of a ragtag attack here by NightMare. 5 Stalkers, 2 Zealots. What is this, a campaign tower defense wave? I don't think so. I don't think that's going to work out. Upgrades even lacking. GuMiho's winning with just +1 attack. Forces look to be heading out onto the map. GuMiho's gotten enough of the pieces together. I think he's ready to make a bit of move here. Siege tanks will help out, anchor a bit of a position. There's a lot of bio. A little lack of medevacs, though. There's 4 on the map, but looks like only 2 here. Stalkers, well, they're going to catch the siege tanks. This is actually a pretty helpful move, but I don't think it's going to be nearly enough. Storm's looking solid on the defense, though. Picking off the Templar. GuMiho's focusing them down nicely. Archon attempted. Another decent storm onto the Marauders. Going to pick off just a couple of them. The reinforcements from the bottom. Pick off another Marauder or two, but nowhere near enough. That was just a snowball victory. GuMiho getting a bit of damage done throughout the entire map is going to dominantly take map number 1. Map number 2 in the series shall be El Dorado here. The bottom left corner shall belong to the blue Protoss. Having a bit of a tough time deflecting all of those drops, taking a bit of damage, but can bring it back, of course. It is NightMare. And their opponent, the bottom right, shall belong to the rather aggressive Terran. It is GuMiho. Gumi going for it, right? I know. Gumi gone for the throat with that one. Went right for a bit of damage and found a bit of success with it. So I'd say no reason to really change things up on their side. We'll see if GuMiho decides to switch things up, go for not a 2-1-1 opener that did get a fair bit of damage. Probe. Doing probely things. Probably business afoot, which involves harassing SCVs, yes. Marine opener, already slightly different. And GuMiho had the Reaper set up initially, so curious. The choice there. We'll see how things continue. Usually, if you're going the command center slapped down, oh god, almost gets the probe too. NightMare gonna barely keep that alive. That's helpful, at least. Not losing that initial scout. And gets to see, oh, you were making a Marine. That's helpful to know. So always a good thing, I suppose. Command center slapped down on the Hydra. GuMiho did this in the last match, too. GuMiho seems to be liking just taking the safe command center option. It's okay to make it on the high ground, probably make it into an orbital, and then float it down, I suppose. To each their own, perhaps. Also a different choice from the Protoss over here. We're seeing a Stargate opener. Okay, that's intriguing. They're both going for something slightly different. GuMiho's setup. He's going for a Hellion. I was going to say it looks like more similar to the Widowmine style opener, but hold on to that thought, Indigos. Don't let that one out too loud, because this is a Hellion and double Marines, so nowhere in there are the words Widow or Mine, other than GuMiho probably saying this strategy is mine. 3 Marines holding the front door. Adept Shade will be denied. Will not commit either. Initial Hellion out on the map spots the Adept, and it looks like, more importantly, the Adept spotted the Hellion. Micro trying desperately to hit without taking any damage. Orbital made on the high ground. Mule dropped, as it was foretold. There's one Widowmine here. NightMare's gonna see it too. Oh, wow. Widowmine almost sending the Adept straight into the Kala with that one. The recall was well timed, I suppose. It's going to be a Phoenix opener from NightMare. Okay. We're going Phoenix Colossus with a severe lack of Colossus. Oh, he's got an Oracle out. Where's the Oracle? The Oracle is on the other side of the map. Well done, Indigo. Solid map vision and casting work there. The Oracle's going to get just a few SCVs. GuMiho responds with a Marine drop, trying to get a little bit of damage. Looks like mine was cleaned up. The Marine's now the only hope. Phoenix decides to lift up 1 Marine. Like, part of me thinks it would have been better to just sit the Phoenix on attacking the medevac, but picking up 1 Marine, I suppose, helps the ground forces, so maybe it results in 1 less probe dying. Phoenix will get the medevac eventually, killing off 2 Marines with him, which means 2 more are now, I think they're stuck over here. Oh no, not for long. Actually, that's a pretty helpful scout. Just getting to see NightMare taking this base, because GuMiho hasn't opened this up yet, it looks like. Hasn't quite decided to go that route. Ooh, awkward. Adepts, way too strong. Protoss, good grief. It's a slaughter on the low ground side of the map here. NightMare checking out the mineral wall, saying, oh, you haven't opened this up yet. Silly Terran. Looks like GuMiho is actually going to want to, though. Really? This might be overkill. Wow, the siege tank shot. Adept just takes it like a champ. Not armored, of course. Adept not being an armored unit means they don't take a whole lot of damage from the siege tank, but still, it's the graphic of it. It's the premise. It's a little bit much, don't you think? Dropping a nuke to kill creep tumors. It's like, I don't think that was necessary. But okay, that's fine. We have a Raven doing a bit of work here. Possible harassment. Unfortunately, the existence of a Phoenix and Blink Stalker. Do they have Blink? Not yet. No Blink actually at all, so just Stalkers. Gonna shut that down very easily. Auto turret of SAS, attempted and denied all in one fell swoop. NightMare, I'll say definitely looking to be a bit better off. Yes, the Marine drop killed 10 probes, sure, but NightMare also snapped back. The Oracle has managed to wiggle out 7 SCV kills, so things are looking to be less dreadful. This match, I'm feeling a bit more hopeful for the Protoss side of this map in map number 2. More Phoenix being made, up to 4 now. Very nice. The Phoenix are helpful. It's something that I didn't really understand. I didn't really appreciate when I was like a youngin ladder player. Okay, I was like, Phoenix, that's weird. It only attacks air. Uh-oh, had a little bit of a pause. Maybe a little bit of lag. Who knows what was going on with that. Either way, Phoenix, I was talking about. I was like, I didn't really appreciate it when I was a youngin'. So I hope if you all are out there, you're listening, you don't walk into stasis traps with a siege tank, and you appreciate your Phoenix, because their lift ability can be used to pick up units. Although I will say, if the Terran's just going to walk their tanks into the stasis, you don't really need to lift it with the Phoenix, so that's helpful. Picking up Marauder, Cyclone, Widow Mine's going off, Charge Lot, attack engaged here. I think the medevac was able to pick up the siege tank and put it on the other side of the minerals, blocking a little bit of the path, but will be helpful in targeting down those stalkers. Marine trying to hold this ground. Phoenix helping out, picking up the Widow Mines before they can actually go off. I think GuMiho has just enough. He's going to clear the ground. The Phoenix, not a big concern if you take care of all the ground forces, I suppose. I mean, unless you're a medevac, I guess. Medevac's probably not going to have a fun day, if that's the case, but still. GuMiho's command center lives, undeniable so far. Coins decorating the watchtower. GuMiho's keeping an eye on it. Switching to the camera, we didn't need that. Phoenix entering the main base here, picking off a few SCVs, being a bit annoying, a nuisance. But the hidden Widow Mines behind the barracks going to fight back, take out multiple Phoenixes, Phoenixes, yes, exactly, you got it, beautiful viewer. All of the above. Many zealots on the map. Here, NightMare is going for the Zealots build, which has resulted in nearly 30 Zealots and a few other things that are honestly decorative, I suppose, just to trick somebody into thinking I'm not making only Zealots. Beautiful Stasis Horde catches all 5 Widow Mines. The Zealots free to commit with that. Phoenix pick up the siege tank. I love it. Targeting down some of the medevacs as well. This is a lot of Zealots. I think it's just barely going to be enough. We have the reinforcements coming from the right side. I think it's a little overkill. GuMiho lodges himself into a solid position. The Widow Mines seem to all target the Phoenix. Interesting. Maybe GuMiho wasn't manually splitting some of those off, but nonetheless, the damage is done. They go for the Phoenix. This group will not get a whole lot done, picking off just a couple zealots. This command center looking to be in a bit of peril, bit of a tough time mining. GuMiho's going to have to lift it. SCV's evacuated as well. Things are looking substantially better for NightMare in map number 2, I will say. The composition's doing well. Strategy coming into play here. Picks off the command center, too. That's big. No longer having that third base there, GuMiho should be able to clean this up, I think. The Stalkers, I mean, they're getting a bit of work done, but with the Zealots gone, Stalkers by themselves, they're really fragile. They're really delicate little Protoss flowers. Okay. GuMiho throws out a scan. Not an attack scan. That's a, oh man, you have this base too scan? Yeah. Probably a disgusted look came across the Terran's face with that scan. Behind this, NightMare has not been idle, no. Has been producing the tech, getting Colossi +2 attack, Dark Shrine on the way as well. NightMare's trying to get all the pieces together, the puzzle looking pretty good so far. No storm, so definitely changing it up from last round. Instead going for Thermal Lance Colossi. GuMiho's got a lot of Marauders though, which I'll say, yeah, Colossi, it's not ideal, sure, but definitely better than nothing, I suppose. What is this? Widow Mines? It is. It's attempted Widow Mines. Grief, the medevac took a lot of damage, though. Oh, he gets it. Medevac will be picked off. Widow Mines now, I guess they're just going to be condemned. Welcome to the upper part of the map. See where they shuffle around. See if they can find any opportunities. A little bit of damage. A drop finds its way over to the Protoss's third, fourth, whatever you want to call it. 34th base, I suppose. Widow Mines. Oh, going for the charge slots. Pretty decent connections, but the Colossi will clean them up nicely. And GuMiho readying all of the Marauders. 18 Marauders. That's definitely quite a bit, but we'll see. If NightMare can actually get everything together here, kind of engage the force just all at once, totally fine, I think. Of course, army supply does show the Terran at advantage. Ooh, GuMiho's going to find a nice bit of damage here as well, picking off the cannon and deleting the probes with rapid efficiency, complete haste there. The Protoss force engaged with the command center. That's not even an orbital, GuMiho. Just completed the command center, maybe. Colossi going to be very helpful here. The boys are pulled. The Marauders stuck behind the force field. All the SCVs now get on top of the Stalkers. The Colossi desperately trying to pick off the Marauders. I think they will be successful as well. The Stalker Micro looking on point. Over here, the Terrans in the main base getting a bit of work done, but GuMiho is losing army fast. Zealot shaped fires in the main base. GG's gonna be called. The Protoss takes map number 2, tying it up 1-1. It all comes down to this. The grand finale in this best-of-3 shall be played on the map Ley Lines here. We'll start with the bottom left this time. Give the Terran a bit of love here. Having a tough time in map number 2, finding some opportunities, trying to secure all of the bases. It is GuMiho. And that leaves the upper right corner to belong to, of course, the blue Protoss, NightMare. Yes, map number 2, wildly different, I will say. Both in, builds, ideals, and attempts, strategies, and execution. Things not working out quite as well for GuMiho that round, I will say. Having a bit of a struggle dealing with a Colossus, I think actually wound up being a really solid tech choice, despite the abundance of Marauders on the map. Usually Marauders are pretty decent, but it felt like towards the end there, GuMiho kind of hurt himself splitting the army, I think. So we saw the group of Terran forces on NightMare's side of the map getting quite a bit of damage done. Of course, I can't understate the damage. Absolutely great damage, solid, done, but at the cost of the game is the issue, because if GuMiho had everything together, had been able to maybe pull those forces back and drop, just behind, flank them, surround NightMare's army, it might have gone a bit better, I think. Instead, having to pull the boys, lose said boys, lose quite a bit else throughout that game. We'll see how map number 3 unfolds here, what they're going into with their thoughts, their ideas. Apparently, NightMare is feeling, I think, a little bit of aggression here. This is a proxy pylon on the way. And not sending this probe into the main base for very much time at all here. Not wanting to lose it. I think not wanting to really give GuMiho the opportunity to take it out. GuMiho has opted for similar setup, at least going Marine first, but getting the reactor on the barracks here. Factory's going to start with a tech lab. Interesting. Don't tell me we're switching this up again here. We've got a cyclone drop possibly in order here. This is a gateway setting up as the proxy, so a forward warp in spot. NightMare gets the adept in as well. You always complete the shade when you get it in, I suppose. One SCV will be picked off. This is already just an annoying premise, a nuisance for the Terran. Not quite too crippling damage. Now, GuMiho's locked the door, though, so the Adept will definitely be picked off and gets to spot what that factory was making. Gets to see initial Cyclone, so that's helpful, at least. What is that? Are you going Banshee? Really? Interesting. Ooh, spicy. GuMiho, how dare you? Not so early in the morning. Banshee play, I suppose, on the menu for map number 3. This forward pylon's working out, helping out with a little bit of damage. The natural command center's in peril. The medevac drop just sent across. There's only one stalker here for the defense. There's no stim, of course. Not really any, major risk, I suppose. NightMare's going to pull the probes away. Stalker's brought down for the defense. Blink is going to be chronoed out. Not really any damage found, though. Don't even think he picked off the Stalker. No. Okay, then. Meanwhile, Command Center being hit with trauma that will take years of therapy to unpack and unfurl, I suppose. Stalkers, I see them in my sleep, I say. Oh, I had another pause. Yes, the tactical pause. Look at me damage your command center. Now stew on that for a second, will you, Terran? Where'd the first Banshee go? First Banshee heading across. GuMiho just does not care. Totally fine. He's going to try to get this saved with a combination of Marines and SCVs. It's working out fine so far, but Blink is getting closer. And if this attack continues with Blink, look at this. The Banshee just shut down. 0 kills. Oh my god. I really am starting to worry for GuMiho's position now, going into the mid-game for this map. Oh god, is there enough? The siege tank. No, not enough, I think, with the Banshee helping out, too. Siege tank barely survives. 2 kills on him. The depth shaded into the main base. Now, this forward pylon's still active and unscouted, actually. GuMiho hasn't found it yet. Is the Banshee the help? The Banshee's the help. Banshee's going to be the savior here. Going to spot that forward pylon, forward warp gate, which I think should be quite the priority for GuMiho. Yeah, I would definitely be taking this out. Trying to get rid of that. Siege tank will help out with that. Marines will spot, give it some vision. What's NightMare's plan behind this? Of course, Blink finished up. We saw Templar Archives Storm as a choice. So we've got a bit of a rinse-repeat from map number 1, it looks like, for NightMare at least. GuMiho's just thrown it all to the wind. We've got Banshees. Okay. I don't know what's going on anymore. Absolutely not. Stalker going to spot this group moving out. It's going to be up to NightMare now, I think, to stop this push, stop this attack. If NightMare can stop this, can clean it up with minimal losses, I think that's got to be a really good indicator for any Protoss player. And likewise, of course, GuMiho gets a bit of damage done. Gets rid of the Templar, especially. Archon merged in. NightMare quick on the draw there, recognizing the threat. There is an observer nearby. Should be able to help. A forward bunker's going to be made. Okay. We've only got one battery, it looks like, for defense. It's not going to be enough. I think it's going to be up to the army units. Zealots getting a bit eager, a bit anxious there, charging in. Marines, what have we got here? No stim, no shield still. These are just angry Marines. Gave them a gun and some armor and harsh words. Apparently that's all they need to get a bit of work done. Charge lots looking to commit. Friendly fire drawing a solid storm from the bottom. The sneaky surprise storm. Zealots are going to clean up the bio, get on top of the siege tank, which should be the end of this push. The Stalkers clean up the Banshee. The bunker will be destroyed, cleaned up. Protoss. Protoss looking to be pretty decent. Minimal losses there, I would say. A lot of Zealots lost for sure, but that's kind of what you're hoping to lose, I think, at that point. The Observer, where is it? Oh, not anywhere near helpful for dealing with this Banshee. Okay. But that's fine. We'll see how the next few minutes goes, I suppose. NightMare, I definitely agree. It has got to be feeling good, I suppose. Third base up and running, able to saturate that. Up on the worker count, up on the army count, up on the tech count, frankly. GuMiho doesn't even have stim, and we've got storm on the board. Okay, that's rather big, I feel. Stalkers blinking forward will pick off. Was that the last Banshee? That was the last Banshee. And with that, I think GuMiho is unfortunately at a point where you kind of just have to sit back and build, which is not a good feeling spot to be in. Third command center is on the way. The tech is going to start to come online for GuMiho. Let's get the stim. There's only one tech lab barracks. Oh, there's two. We're not getting shields though. What the hell, GuMiho? We're just having to pour as much money into making the army as possible, I suppose, because we kind of lost a lot of it. There we go. Stim and shells on the way now. We've got all three tech labs up and running. Widow mines are the choice, I agree, because of the abundance of charged zealots that NightMare has been favoring for the last little bit. Gonna send this group out. Stalker just holding, spotting for any army movement. Upgrades for the Protoss, not really on the menu just yet. That forge is not even halfway done. Robo Bay follow up behind this. I like the decision. Go for a bit of Colossi. They worked well in the map number 2. Storm drop, decent connections. Marauder up at the top just stood in it. Forgot his umbrella. Dancing in the rain, I suppose. GuMiho's got a drop on the other side, looking to maybe contest this 4th base. Find a little bit of damage. I've got the storms, and then the Archon merge looking great. GuMiho barely reaches some of those Marines, picks up some of them, so it will be able to make it out. Some a little more bruised and battered than others. The Observer's going to spot where they're fleeing. Uh-oh. Oh, there's Templar in the prism this time. Okay, that's good. Oh. Wow, the storm? I think the storm may have been a little overkill, but NightMare's gonna do it, and it's fine. That's a great one. Picking off quite a bit of the health of those Widow Mines. Not gonna take them out completely before they fire off their shots. Certainly will deny a bit of damage. Only 5 probes lost. This is great, I think. Thinking about this from the Protoss point of view, you're deflecting these attacks, cutting down the army. GuMiho is just kind of bleeding things off at this point. Landing the command center with relatively little defense. Did that Robo Bay finish up? It did. We are going for Colossi with this. Marauders trying to pick off a few of the probes. Looks like they succeed in getting 2 of them and hurting the feelings of a High Templar. Which, do High Templar have feelings? Are we sure? Who really knows? Observers in a decent spot, spotting most of what's going on here. Sees that third command center. I think NightMare's got to be feeling a little itchy to get the damage done. Colossi coming online. Thermal Lance just now started. Kicking off the Medevacs 2 map control goes to NightMare. GuMiho moving the siege tanks up though. And has ghosts on the field, so that's helpful. EMP, possibly. A well-timed EMP could make or break a defense here. If it gets onto the Templar before they storm, that would be very helpful. Where's the Prism? There's the Prism. Not carrying the Templar, though. NightMare's going to commit to an attack here. Charge lots being depleted, bled off at the front. Bunker's not yet completed. Storming the center tower. Hey, sense this, will ya? Decent second storm onto the Marines. Medevac has no energy, not able to really help out. Bunker going to help out. A little bit of defense. Solid EMP onto the Templar, but they're just going to turn into an Archon, and it's not even going to matter. NightMare holds with the defense, deflecting all of GuMiho's attacks, and then able to fight back. GuMiho not going to stop such aggression here. NightMare will take the series. Thank you so much, of course, for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to let me know in the comments below. As always, guys, I hope you have a great day.